Let's make this fleeting moment last forever. So tell me what you're waiting for. I'm gonna keep it frozen here forever.
Hey guys, my name is Tae Bing Yu. I'm the owner of the blog RC Buggy Evolution, and today I'm gonna teach you guys on how to rebuild your suspension shocks on the buggy, and also how to balance your tires. I like to do these two activities together because it's perfect to do at the same time. First, I'm going to start with building a shock. Exactly. So first you open up the cap. I've already drained my fluid, but you're supposed to drain it. You can dump it in a toilet bowl on the ground. Hopefully you dump it in a toilet bowl, less mess to clean up. So the first thing that you want to do when you open this up is that you want to clean the cap. So what you should do is that you should clean the cap by just stuffing a wad of tissue and dabbing it dry. Make sure after you clean the cap, the diaphragm stays intact. It's not torn. Even if you push it a bit, it deflates. It inflates. For this, you're going to be using a lot of tissue because tissue is actually one of the best things to absorb both differential and shock oils. For this exercise, I will be using this as an example of a 16mm big bore shock from S-Works. Alright, I'll be talking more about the S-Works car later. As I explained earlier in my blog post, I like to use a 42.5 weight in my front shock because it makes the car feel more stable. First thing you want to do is to open up your shocks. So to open your shocks, you're going to need a proper clamping tool. I've got mine, this is from Yeah Racing. It's priced reasonably. If you have any other brand, that's good too. Many newbies, they say, I started out the same way. We use the plier, which is actually very unhealthy for the shocks. You leave scratches on it, and that's something that you really do not want to do. So after you've taken out the shock shoe, you want to remove the dust guard. Just pull it off and remove the bottom. Be careful when you're removing the bottom bit, stuff might come out. You're supposed to clean each part of it. After you've cleaned them, just put them back, and now we'll be providing a proper pro tip. So what you're going to do is just push out the piston, put it on the side of the tissue. You can use a little screwdriver. I've got this handy metal pin here, so you can just dig out the O-rings like this, put it on the tissue, and just dab them clean with the tissue. If you do see them brown and has excess dirt, dab them dry and clean. Now one thing a lot of pros use that nobody tells you at the first, but I'm gonna, is that you're supposed to use green slime to put back the O-rings. This provides a better seal and a smoother flow for the piston later. So yes, so you put the first O-ring inside, dab a bit of green slime on it. You can see that there is the green slime already packed nicely and proper all the way inside the car, inside the shocks. Just put it back inside. Wipe off the excess green slime at the bottom. And there we go. Put back on the dust sleeve or the shock sleeve. Some people call it socks, some people call it sleeves. There are a lot of names for it, but it does the same thing. It protects the shaft from dirt. And then screw it back on. I like to do mine immediately. As I've stated earlier, I'm using a 42.5 weight from Team Associated. Just fill up all the way until you see the tip. I like to fill my shocks up about this high. I don't know if the camera can see it. It's about 2 mm from the height, from the maximum height. After you fill up, you want to push the shocks in and out to remove any air bubbles. And if you can see them, or rather it's difficult to see, what a lot of people usually do is that they just leave their shocks somewhere in an upright position to let the bubbles flow. Now this wait usually takes around 10 minutes or so, or 20 minutes, or even up to an hour. So at this point I like to do my tires, to balance my tires. Balancing tires can take up to 30 seconds to 30 minutes. It's something very delicate, but it's a need for for all buggy cars. By balancing your tires, you reduce vibration. By reducing vibration, you basically reduce a lot of wear and tear towards the car, especially the bearings. And it also helps in handling and top speed because the tire is spinning better now. My tire balancer is from Hobby King, the track style one. As you can see, this is a perfectly balanced tire. When you turn it, there is no wobbly motion, it's very smooth. One way to test it is that when you turn it quick, you don't want to see it wobble, or you don't want to feel the tire balancer vibrating. Right now I'm going to show a comparison with a completely unbalanced tire, so I'm just going to undo the nut. And put on a fresh tire that's not balanced. Tighten the nut, and here we go. Now a lot of hobby shops, they sell proper weight to balance your tires. I don't use them. I'm very cheap, so I just use blue tack, which is just as good. How to use this is that once your tire has stopped wobbling in place, you mark the highest bit of the tire and you put a bit of blue tack or proper weighted clay. So it had stopped around here, so you just pick up the tip, put a bit of blue tack there, now after that put it at the side. It should show you where is still heavier and where it needs more blue tack. So as you can see, the top still needs more blue tack, so I will add that later. We're back. So here we have our shock again after doing the tire balancing, and you can see now that there are no more air bubbles inside, which is a very good sign. So we take back the cap and just put it back on. Something that's very important to do during this part is called the shock bleeding. It's also very time consuming but very worth it. What you want to do is that when you're screwing in the shocks, you're going to receive a lot of oil coming out of it. And that's okay, that's perfectly normal. Every time you see the oil come out from the little hole in the shock, just wipe it off. What you want to achieve in a fully rebuilt shock is that after you finished rebuilding it, you want a full rebound. So here you go. Always wipe off the excess bleeded oil. Here, when you compress the shock, it should come back out towards the end. The reason why it's not coming back out is because I hurried the bleeding process, which is something that you should not do because this is the end result. The end result is supposed for it to go in and out back at the same length. That brings us towards the end of the video. I am Tae-Bing Yu. I drive an S-Works BE1 Evo. Here I've modded it to fit on a nitro body shell I've used the nitro skirts. It looks a lot better. It certainly handles a lot better than the original BE1 body shell because it has better downward force from the Falcon 2 body shell. I would fully recommend this car towards any new hobby enthusiasts here because I've had this car for a year. It's by far the least problematic car. I've crashed it dozens of times and I've only fully rebuilt the car once. This car is extremely durable and receives my highest recommendation. Thank you so much for watching my video. Have a good day.